Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we look at 10 whiskeys that I was really hoping to get in 2023, but I just couldn't get my hands on these whiskeys. Let's find out what they are. Run the video. All right then, folks, thank you for joining us for another new and exciting episode of the Whiskey Cove. So we are doing a video of some of the whiskeys that I just was not able to find, trade for, or anything in 2023. And these are whiskeys that I was really hoping to get. We've put 10 on this list. There's probably a couple more, but I think these are the biggest ones, if you like, are the ones I was trying to find the most. So let's dive into this list, shall we? So in no particular order, we'll start with the first bottle, and that is Penelope Rio. So that is the bottle where I'll put up on the screen here, because I don't have the bottle, clearly, because it's on this list. So this came out, I think it was around the first third of the year. So I think it was about April, May time there. It came in line with a lot of the other Rio stuff in terms of pricing wise. I think it was about $70, $80. There wasn't that much fanfare about this bottle to begin with, but after it started hitting shelves everywhere, people were trying it, people kind of lost their minds a little bit on this, and I kind of created really this limited product, and it became an allocated product. And Penelope hadn't done that before with any of their bourbons that they released, so this was the first one. It is finished in Amburana barrels, and the reason I wanted it was because everybody was saying that it was just so good. I wasn't really looking for it before, and I remember seeing it in one or two places just sitting on shelves for MSRP. But then as soon as the internet took over, the prices just skyrocketed, and I couldn't find it to get down into the Whiskey Cove to bring you folks a review there at home. So we'll have to see going into 2024 now, as we're in January right now. I might still be able to pick this up, and if I do, I'll definitely do a review on the channel for you folks at home. I'll also be looking for the Penelope 15-year light whiskey as well, because that just dropped at the same time too recently. So I'm on the lookout for that so far. So number 2 on this list, and that is going to be Michter's 10-year bourbon. So I've never been able to buy one of these in general. We've managed to pick up the 10-year rye, but never the 10-year bourbon. And it was talked about and discussed about that this year's edition was probably the best iteration of the 10-year bourbon from Michter's for a very long time. Maybe ever. It did also take a bit of a price jump as well this year. I think MSRP was in the 200s for this bottle, which is getting a little bit crazy town, but nevertheless it didn't deter anybody to try to find this bottle. And much like the Penelope Rio, this was a bottle I was trying to find based upon the reviews or feedback or pictures that people had shared on Facebook and other social circles saying just how good this whiskey was. So I kind of continued to look for it throughout the year. Even when we were in Kentucky, we looked for it there. You know, we did some stakeouts around the Michter's distillery, but we just came away with the Fort Nelson fill your own bottle, which is a phenomenal alternative. And then we also come away with a rye as well, but not the Michter's 10 bourbon. So unfortunate not to be able to get that, but of course, you know, we can't get every single bottle that I would love to find. We have them very well in terms of finding a lot of great whiskey, which I'm super thankful that I was able to get. Yes, at times, you know, I put a lot of effort into trying to get these, so you know, it doesn't fall into my lap, but nevertheless, I'm also very humbled that I'm able to get this whiskey here in Colorado, because I know how difficult it is for other states in the US. But with that being said, there are some really special bottles that I've been able to pick up recently, and I'll be drip feeding them, if you like, through the Whiskey Cove channel. Not all at once, but you'll see some really nice bottles coming here soon. So moving back onto this list and going to number 3, and this is a bottle that's consistently been eluding me. It is a unicorn bottle, if you like, and that is because it is Old Forester birthday bourbon. So this is a whiskey I've been looking for years and years and years. Can never find it. Yes, it is always going to be hitting those raffles, those allocation raffles at the end of the year. But for whatever reason, I've just not been able to get my hands on one. I've seen last year I had the opportunity to get one at MSRP on a list. However, that, you know, we managed to pick up the George T. Stagg kind of instead. There was other things that I picked above it, but this is just one of those whiskeys that has just constantly avoided me. People keep saying how good this whiskey is, and I've tried it once at a bar, but you want to have your own bottle. You want to open the bottle yourself and try it straight from the bottle. You don't want to have a whiskey that might have been sitting at a bar. You don't know how long. That's why I always try to ask the people that, you know how long this has been open for? Can I have a look at the bottle so I can look at the laser code? If it's a half open bottle and it's from 2015, then it might not be worth you purchasing that pour at a bar. Moving on, and that is another whiskey that, much like the birthday bourbon, constantly is slippery. I can never get my hands into a bar of soap. Oh, so close. I was again this year. That is the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. Its three sisters are sitting on my shelf there, the single barrel, the rye, and the small batch. However, we can't quite get the barrel proof to sit alongside those. So there was a store near me that does an allocation list, and they update it every now and again, and I've been able to find some decent bottles from that list who had well full proof, E.H. Taylor single barrel, Stag Juniors, that sort of thing that we've been really successful in getting. However, when we went on vacation to California, they had dropped the E.H. Taylor barrel proof on their list, and I don't live too far away from the store, so I can normally probably rush over there in time and get one of the more harder to find, or the top tier bottles that they have there. However, I was in California, absolutely gutted I was not able to get E.H. Taylor barrel proof, and it was only like $90 as well, which is pretty close to MSRP, maybe like $10, $15 more, but that's kind of like the prices are in Colorado. They're never right at MSRP. I don't know how this year's was. I can't remember the name of the batch. I think it's either 10 or 12. I don't remember which one got released this year. I haven't looked into reviews or anything like that based upon it, but just the consistency of E.H. Taylor across the board is phenomenal anyway. So I would love to get my hands on that bottle. 2024 might be the year for the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. I'm going to call it that by the end of this year, we will hopefully have picked up the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. So then moving on, much like the first two are from this list, the Rio and the Michter's, this was a bottle I wanted to find just because of the fanfare, you know, and that is the 13th Colony Double Oaked. So many people are doing reviews on this bottle, talking about this bottle, just how good it is, and I'll be completely honest with you. I never even heard of the distillery, 13th Colony, until this bottle started popping up everywhere. It kind of looks like the Old Forester birthday bourbon bottle in a way, as you'll see on the screen here, but the juicy looks so dark. I don't quite know where to get the distillate from, because I don't try to read in too much about bottles that I don't have until I find them, and then I kind of try to do a bit of research on them then. However, this just looks like, it genuinely looks like maple syrup. In the bottle. It's so dark. It's very much a double oaked whiskey that I would love to put up against Old Forester 1910, because that's probably my favorite double oaked or toasted, if you like. But I think it just hasn't come to Colorado. I think it's more of like a Central and East Coast distillate whiskey, because I've never seen it in Colorado. I've never heard about it in Colorado, so they only probably send it to certain states. So maybe they might distribute this year. I'm going to hold my breath on this. I don't foresee myself getting this bottle this year. Moving on, Jack Daniel's 12. I really wish I was able to get this bottle, because we have Jack Daniel's 10 bourbon, and that is phenomenal. A fantastic bourbon, fantastic representation of the bourbon that Jack Daniel's can do that isn't obviously Tennessee whiskey. And the 10 was phenomenal, and the 12, you know, you get those extra 2 years, and I think that would have been something just a little bit more special. To my knowledge, that they will continue to do like 13, 14, 15-year age statements. So I really want to get the 12, because I want to try to continue with those age statements and be able to bring the review here for the channel, because I'm a bit of a Jack Daniel's fan. I think the whiskey that they put out is really underrated across the board. The ryes, the bourbons, and even some of the Tennessee whiskeys, like the Tennessee Whiskey Barrel Proof, is just fantastic. Warm apple pie, caramel, sauce in a bottle. It's just all great whiskey. However, the Jack Daniel's 12 just avoided me this year. It did drop at the beginning of the year. I heard about it drop, and I asked quite a few stores, you know, because that's what you have to do. You just got to keep asking questions, spending money, I guess, as well. But missed that one, sadly. Next up, and this was one that I saw quite a few times, but I just didn't buy it, and that is Russell's Reserve Camp Nelson F. So we managed to pick up the Camp Nelson C, I believe it was, up here. We made the Whiskey Cove's Whiskies of the Year for 2022. And a fantastic, or 2023, sorry. A fantastic, fantastic whiskey. It was so great. And then, of course, they released then the Camp Nelson F. And again, much like the C, I'm hearing really great things about this whiskey. But they also tacked on another $50 to the MSRP. So I had the opportunity probably on 3 occasions to pick it up, but it would have cost me about close to $350 after tax. And I just wasn't, I'm just not willing to pay that amount of money for that bottle, because I had already bought this Camp Nelson this year, right at the beginning of the year, I think January it was, and I just not willing to put another $350 into Russell's. Maybe if I can trade into it with like a Weller Full Proof or something like that I bought for like $60, $70, or maybe some other stuff as well that might balance that out a little bit, because I tried to do that. I don't sell whiskey and I don't buy whiskey for cash outside of stores, but what I do like to do is I do like to trade it, you know, with people around in Colorado, just so everybody can get the bottles that they want. But I think that's okay, personally, me, especially when it comes to the allocated stuff. Moving on, and that is Knob Creek 18. So this did come out at the start of the year, and I think I've seen it a couple of times, and I think it was overpriced, about 25 to 50% overpriced. So we're talking like high 200s, and I think the MSRP is about 180. I hear pretty good things about this in terms of the lines, the different whiskey lines that Jim Beam puts out. I think Knob Creek is probably my favorite. I haven't got much time for the Booker's lineup and the Little Book, however, and the Basil Haydens as well. However, big fans of the Old Grandad. I think they're a phenomenal juice, and I think they're pretty underrated across the board. However, I would say probably as a whole, Knob Creek is. So I've tried Knob Creek 15, 12, and a lot of the other picks. They also do a lot of Knob Creek bourbon picks, which are some of those are criminally underrated, because you can get 120 proof 11, 12-year whiskey for like $50, $60. It's such incredible value for money. The Knob Creek 9, which is like $28, is again phenomenal value for money. So even though I wasn't aggressively looking for the Knob Creek 18, I think that was a bottle I definitely missed out on this year. And judging by what a lot of people have to say about it, it sounded like it would have been a good addition to the Whiskey Cove. Moving on, we have 2 left. Penultimate one is the Fay Ranch Farm Strength, uncut and unfiltered. So we did this bottle in one of the Whiskeys to Look Out for months, and this is something I really wanted to get because everything in the bottle, so all the whiskey, was made by everything available to them on the Fay Ranch there. I think it's in Nevada. So they got everything that they needed to distill this whiskey, apart from the appliances, from the ranch that they're based upon. Sounded really cool and really interesting craft whiskey. Fantastic story there as well. Funny story is that someone was going to send me a bottle from Las Vegas, and it broke on the way here, or something happened, but it didn't make its way here. So that was a little bit frustrating that I wasn't able to get that. This was a few months ago. And then after that, because I'd been looking for so long, I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to give up on it this year. It's not an expensive bottle. It's not really an allocated bottle, but it just doesn't come to Colorado. If for whatever reason the cask strength or the farm strength is what it's called does come to Colorado next year, I'll definitely pick it up, but I'm not going to go out of my way and go through trying to get it sent to me, I guess, because it's just going to break again. Knowing my luck. And then lastly, the last bottle, and this kind of came up maybe the back of last year, the start of this year, it kind of continued maybe like another round. And going back to Jim Beam, that was Baker's 13. So we've picked up a lot of Baker 7 bottles in the past, and I find with the Baker 7 bottles, even though it's called Baker 7, like 7 years, you can actually get like 8 and 9 year versions, they'll say on the label. And as you go up through the higher age stuff, from my own experience, like the 8 and 8.5 year ones, it gets a lot better. So I would be really interested to see the 13-year one, because you're getting like 5 to 6 years plus, and I think that will carry a lot of oak character that the regional 7-year one, if you like, is probably missing a little bit in my own opinion. We might continue to look for it this year. There was a single barrel pick of one of these that did drop in Denver that I wasn't able to get my hands on. It was a lottery only one, and I didn't get picked, but that's okay, you know. You can't get every bottle that you want to get out there, so we will be patient, we'll buy it on time. I'm fortunate enough that because I got ahead of the whiskey game, if you like, and I started collecting or hunting or drinking whiskey a lot sooner than maybe when pop culture got involved. Not that that's a bad thing or anything, that kind of just helped me out a little bit. I've been able to now be patient with everything and not really have to hunt around consistently and all the time for like a Weller full proof, because you know, I have a couple of bottles, I enjoyed it, I know exactly what it's like. I can just kind of have my connections, do my spending in certain stores, and you know, I'm hopefully able to then get some good bottles every now and again. With that being said, there were 10 whiskies that we just couldn't get in the Whiskey Cove this year. Like I said, I'm making a prediction that I would get E.H. Taylor barrel proof this year, and I think that we'll probably be able to get the Jack Daniel's 12. They're the two right on the top of my list for the whiskies that we couldn't find this last year. So we'll guess and we'll wait and see. Of course, as always, if we do find them, we'll bring them on the show in a store haul, or we'll just review them as well. So as we say on this channel, as you drink through the world's whiskies one glass at a time, let's find those 10 whiskies this year. Cheers.